the time. That's intercepted. Here goes a terrific Hilton pick, and that is 6. A pick 6 thrown by Ben Roethlisberger to his former team.
Stafford fires, he's picked. Intercepted by Rasul Douglas for the touchdown.
And welcome to another episode of Interesting to See, your daily sports podcast about news, narratives, takes, and gambling. I'm Nick. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Happy Cyber Monday to those of you who love people enough to buy them stuff at Christmas. And congratulations. What a weekend. Great football weekend. 2 of the 3 Thanksgiving games are always good. One is always a stinker. It's good when that one is the last one so you can reasonably fall asleep. That's what we want, is to fall asleep watching football on the couch as the night ends. Okay, so in this episode, we're going to talk about football. Did other stuff happen? Yes. Do I care as much about football? I do not. So let's start with football. We're going to start with college because for the first time in a dog's age, Michigan Wolverines defeat the Ohio State Buckeyes. I was going to have a clip of that, but then I just didn't because it's an NFL show, and I kind of forgot that it happened. It felt like it was 10 years ago over the weekend. I have no idea what to do with my hands on Monday. It was a long time ago. The Ohio State Buckeyes, they were soft in their season opener against Minnesota. They were soft in their second game of the year against Oregon, and they were soft over the weekend. Michigan ran it down their throat. Jim Harbaugh was right. However, C.J. Stroud, that quarterback, is probably the best quarterback in the country right now. He's absolutely on fire. Ohio State has been eliminated from the college football playoff. Michigan will play Iowa in the Big Ten championship game for the right, probably, to go to the college football playoff. Other college football stuff that happened, Alabama escaped against Auburn because the Auburn running back was too selfish or scared to get hit and stay in bounds. And gave the ball back to Alabama, and Alabama won in overtime, quote-unquote. The new overtime is trash in college football. You start going for 2 eventually. It's like, all right, we go for 2, you go for 2, we go for 2, you go for 2. Trash. Absolute, just an abomination. Ole Miss wins the Egg Bowl. They end up taking second in the SEC West, third in the SEC, something like that. Cincinnati wins big over who they play, one of the Carolinas, Coastal, Eastern, North, I don't know. Wake Forest wins their division over Clemson and NC State, one of the better divisions in the ACC, and Wake Forest wins it. They annihilate Boston, was it Boston? Wake, yeah. Boston got annihilated by Wake. Wake wins the division. Biggest college football news over the weekend happened yesterday around 4 p.m. Lincoln Riley has been named the head coach of the University of Southern California Trojans, and everybody first says this is a big win for the SEC. One of the takes I heard was that, did I hear it? Did I read it? I forget. The take was that Lincoln Riley didn't want to coach at the SEC West version of Tennessee. So he wants to leave the SEC, go coach USC, where there's not a ton of competition in the Pac-12 South. Utah is the scary team out there. I don't know. I think he's going to fail, but I just assume that USC coaches are garbage. Maybe we'll circle back to some college football. Let's go to the pro football stuff. The clips you heard. Matthew Stafford becomes the first quarterback since 2014 when a guy named Matt Schaub of the Houston Texans did it to throw 3 pick sixes in consecutive games. Congratulations, Matt. The Packers dominate the Rams, and then they kind of let him back in, and then Sean McVay is a serious, spineless, scaredy loser. Matthew Stafford throws a back-breaking pick. They drop a bunch of passes, the Rams do, and the Packers beat them. And now that pick, the Detroit Lions pick, which at one point was the 32nd overall pick, should the Rams have won the Super Bowl, it has now become the 23rd overall pick, and the Rams are in serious trouble of not making the playoffs. It is entirely possible that they're not going to make the playoffs. However, that being said, our boy Odell Beckham Jr. is back. Let's listen to Odell. What's up?
To avoid their 3rd straight loss. Here's one for Beckham. Got him.
Look at him.
Touchdown, Odell Beckham.
That's what he wanted. Beckham had a great day. At that point, I believe this makes the game what? 36-17 right there. Makes the game 36-24. I guess it's a good time to celebrate. First play of the 4th quarter, I believe. OBJ was super pumped, though. He feels like he's super back. Good for you, OBJ. The other clip was the Bengals. Mike Hilton, hotty toddy, former Ole Miss Rebel there. Yeah, pick 6 over Big Ben Roethlisberger. And I can tell you this. Ben looked old and fat and cold yesterday. He looked like he had quite a healthy Thanksgiving, is my guess. It was a healthy Thanksgiving. A lot of ass whoopings yesterday, and there were some good games, but there's some ass whoopings and there's some clunkers too. You know what? Actually, it was just a good game of football. The Bengals are good. They're really good. Let's look at the standings. Everybody's going to be talking about Sunday Night Football because, quote-unquote, that game was drunk, something that you should never tweet. Don't ever tweet that. Never. That was something that we did during the Super Bowl when the Superdome was drunk. The game is never drunk. Stop it. Don't ever do that. The Panthers get whipped by the Dolphins. Cam Newton was 5 of 20 for 88 yards and 2 picks at one point. Did you hear that? 5 of 20. 20. He was benched for PJ something. Walker? PJ Walker. The Patriots dominated the Titans down the stretch. The Titans kept it close for a while. The Falcons beat the Jags. The Jets come from behind to beat the Texans. Zach Wilson threw one of the stupidest picks you ever did see. I would Google it. It was fun. The Bucs and the Colts was the game of the day. They go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. The Colts dropped a pick. They also have Jonathan Taylor. It was a big running back game. Leonard Fournette, 4 touchdowns. Also, with the game on the line and no timeouts left and like basically running the clock down, he scored from like 30 yards out on a touchdown run instead of sliding, staying in bounds so they could kick a field goal as time expired. Right, so the game is tied, and Lenny hits a home run from about 30 yards out. And instead of going down and allowing time to expire, he scores a touchdown. It'd be his 4th touchdown of the day because he's super selfish, and that was incredibly stupid because on the ensuing kickoff, the Colts guy took it back 65 yards, and the Colts had 2 shots at the end zone, and it was close. That would have tied the game, potentially given the Colts a chance to walk off. Carson Wentz was the best quarterback on the field. I'm not joking. Really kind of a strange situation. The Broncos just pistol whipped the Chargers. I think it was 28-7 or 28-0 at one point, and the Chargers came back, and Brandon Staley, man, hired Joe Lombardi, who was the offensive coordinator that got fired in Detroit when they were trash. And then he goes to the Saints where he kind of coordinates the offense, or he holds the clipboard for Sean Payton. And remember Dan Campbell, who's now the head coach of the Lions, he brought the defensive coordinator guy from the Saints, but he left Joe Lombardi because I don't think that he wanted him because he sucks. And so now the Chargers have like probably the best pure quarterback in the NFL. I'm not joking. Probably Herbert won. Then after that, it's like the Mahomes, Allen stuff. Herbert is insane, but they don't ever throw the ball further than like 12 yards down the field with him, which is just hilarious. God, the Chargers suck. The Niners beat the Vikings. Kirk Cousins throws a back-breaking interception. There was some bad officiating in this game, but who cares? It's just something that we all have to deal with. And the Ravens beat the Browns. Lamar Jackson, I think, let's look at his stats, because I saw this on Twitter, and I just can't believe it. Lamar Jackson was 20 of 32. 20 of 32. That means 12 of his passes were incompletions, or were not completed. Of those 12, 25% were completed to Browns players. 4 picks for Lamar. 1 passing touchdown to Mark Andrews. They beat the Browns 16-10 in what was a game of ass. It was an awful way to end the weekend. It was terrible. I did see one joke on Twitter that was funny that said if this was the Iron Bowl, everybody would be trying to be telling me how good a football this is. Ha ha ha. God. The Eagles fall to the Giants. Jalen Hurts turns the ball over twice inside the 5-yard line, and they lose by 6 points. Over Thanksgiving, the Bears had an 8.5-minute drive, and Dan Campbell had one of the stupidest mistakes that you can possibly have in clock management being a head coach, and that means calling a timeout after calling a timeout, which is a 5-yard penalty. So you use 2 timeouts and give up 5 yards. The Bears, of course, complete the 3rd down conversion, and they kick a field goal as time expires. The Raiders beat the Cowboys in overtime in what was an excellent football game, and the Bills just destroy the Saints because they have a quarterback and the Saints don't. Sometimes it is literally that easy. One team has a quarterback, and the others don't. Odell Beckham Jr. was offered the veteran minimum to go to Green Bay. The Rams upped it slightly so that he could go to the Rams. He chose the Rams over the Packers. He then wanted to trade jerseys with Devontae Adams, one of the other best wide receivers in the NFL, and Devontae Adams said he can trade with his teammate because that's where he wanted to be. What? Oh, my God. Did you hear that? He won't trade jerseys with him because he didn't go there. Love it. I love it. Calling him out. We just whip your ass, old man. Vita Vea, which is not his real name. I'm not going to try to say his real name. It's a real thing. The guy from the University of Washington and the Tampa Bay Bucks had his helmet pushed off. You know, those sometimes fat dudes have their helmets kind of just plopped off because they're not staying on their chin because they're beards. He got a face mask to the teeth, and he lost his tooth. Just bleeding down, and he's laughing. For those of you who want to watch on YouTube here, I'll bring it up. Look at him. Watch this happen. Boom, right in the kisser, and his tooth just comes plopping out of there. It's like hockey. And he's like, oh, this is cool. I like this. This is fun. Shouts to Warren Sharp for that little fun fact right there. Oh, yeah. I'm really sad that this doesn't have sound. I really wanted this to have sound, but I think that Fox took it off. Here, let's bring it up for those of you watching on YouTube. Kirk Cousins, it's fourth down. It's 4th and 5. Kirk Cousins has got the Vikings inside Niners territory. It's a close game. It's a really great game today. Kirk Cousins lines up under center. No, false. He puts his hand under the guard's ass, and his running back has to stop him. And the Vikings have to call timeout because everyone's like, oh, my God, is he really trying to snap it from the guard? You know that when you go get leg surgery or arm surgery, the surgeons and the nurses and the entire medical staff will make you sign the leg that you need to have surgery on, which seems like a redundancy and stupidity. Like, how could they not know this thing is happening to me and I got to get my leg signed? Well, it helps just one more layer of redundancy to make sure that they don't operate on the wrong leg. And by the way, surgeons and doctors don't use terms like left to right. They use terms like lateral and medial and whatnot, so they wouldn't know. For football players, they're using such complex language and blah, blah, blah. And he's in his own head. Maybe the center should just have a big red dot on his ass and be like, I'm the one that you touch, buddy. Yikes. Interim head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners is, of course, Fox studio host Bob Stoops. That's right. Bob Stoops will coach the Oklahoma Sooners. We saw the tweet of the century. I'm trying to find, I want to give credit to where credit is due. It was either the SB Nation blog or the Rivals blog. It was some blog that covers the Sooners. I got to find it. I wasn't going to read this because I wasn't going to make fun of the Sooners, but here we are because, you know, it's just effing hilarious. Wow, I am annoying. I am such a good reply guy because we got to talk about, there's more Sooners stuff that we have to talk about. One of the things we have to talk about regarding the Sooners is Adam Schefter. We'll get to that in a second. So this is Soonerscoop.com, which is a verified website that covers the Sooners. Quote, blindsided. Wait, I can bring it up. Yeah, you're right, YouTube. This is a visual medium. Blindsided. Did not see this coming. Lincoln Riley is no longer OU's head coach. Players have been called into a meeting to be informed. Can a bowl game even happen now? This is a massive blow to the program and the university. Can a bowl game even happen now? We don't coach games with interim head coaches. Pretty sure Wisconsin won the Rose Bowl with an interim head coach when Bielema left. It was, what's his name? Barry Alvarez, like their most famous person ever. That's hilarious. It's a huge blow to the program to say, like, oh, you're going to the SEC. Can't even beat. Wait, did they lose to Kansas? No, that was the other SEC West team. The only teams in the SEC that are not bowl eligible are Vanderbilt and Texas. I got jokes all day. So let's talk about Adam Schefter. Adam Schefter is a whore. Just an utter whore. So what happens with Adam Schefter's agents and team officials will tweet him things, text him things to tweet, and he'll be like, yeah, I'll tweet that to help you with your negotiations if you give me information. This is Adam Schefter's tweet around the time the Oklahoma job came available. Oklahoma has targeted Cardinals head coach Cliff Kingsbury as one of the potential replacements for Lincoln Riley, league sources tell ESPN. Kingsbury has 1 year remaining on his contract after this season. Cliff Kingsbury is the head coach of the best team of professional football. So what happened was Cliff Kingsbury's agent texted that shit to Adam Schefter, and he tweeted it to help him with his negotiation. But did Schefter stop there? No, he did not. He doubled down. And remember the NFL draft when we did the draft from home and Cliff Kingsbury thirst-trapped us with his rental house in the hills of Phoenix? Yeah, he tweeted those pictures. Like, pretty nice. Wait, what was the actual wording he used for the picture tweet? A good spot to be in. Yeah, good spot to be in. Shouts to Adam Schefter for that. The best response to this tweet I saw was that my sources confirmed that Oklahoma is ready to settle for Andy Reid. That's such a bummer. Look, I don't know who's going to coach Oklahoma, and I don't really care, but that is a dumpster fire if that's what's happening. Or maybe he's getting out now where he doesn't have to deal with Spencer Rattler and Caleb Williams. Apparently, he has taken his top 3 recruits are now decommitted to Oklahoma, and they were like the best receiver, second best quarterback, third best running back, or something like that. And they're just decommitted now. So, yikes. Boomer. sooner. Oklahoma State beats Oklahoma in Bedlam. See, I told you we would circle back around to college football. Oklahoma State's, I've been telling you folks, it only takes one linebacker to win the Big 12. I'm not joking. It only takes one linebacker to win the Big 12. Oklahoma State is now ranked 5th, according to the Associated Press. They beat Oklahoma State in a very close game. Oklahoma State beats Oklahoma in a very close game, I believe. There was an interception in there, but I didn't watch because, you just got to live your life at some point. I'm married, and I have to stay married. Notre Dame beats Stanford. I don't know if anybody tore their ACLs. I'm assuming so. BYU beats USC. BYU, of course, swept the Pac-12 this year by beating Utah, USC. I don't know who else. I really don't know who else. I don't think they would beat Utah if they played again, but that's not how this works. Oregon beat Oregon State. Oregon State did put up a fight. Shouts to them. Georgia Tech did not put up a fight against Georgia. And this is one of those rivalries where at a certain point it's costing you. There's no reason for Georgia to play Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech wins about one every 8 or 9 years, and it might be important to locals, but it's actively hurting the Bulldogs now because if they had they did have a real non-conference game, but I guess maybe I walked that back. They had 2 ACC opponents this year, Clemson and Georgia Tech. That game was technically a true road non-conference game, and I don't want to hear any argument otherwise because it's your rival. Yeah, Baylor beats Texas Tech, so that means the Big 12 championship will be Baylor versus Oklahoma State. Baylor can ruin everything for the Big 12, and then we could have 2 rematches in the national championship, the college football playoff. We could have Cincinnati, Notre Dame, and we could have Alabama, Georgia. Wouldn't that be great? Michigan will have something to say about that. Monday Night Football tonight, the Seattle Seahawks and the Washington football team are a pick'em. That means there's no spread. The over-under is 46.5. That means what? It's going to be 23-24. That's what they say? Sure, I want to see. Let's go to my sportsbook, sportsbook.com, NCAA, click, scrolling. We're going to do Control F. We're going to MIC. Iowa versus Michigan. Michigan is favored by 10.5. There's no way Iowa allows them to have the ball long enough to score 10.5 more points. But the over-under is 43, so what is that? 26-16? Wow, I'm getting better at this, folks. It's 27-16. That sounds right. I don't know if I was going to score 17 points, but they're certainly not going to let them have the ball long enough. We will preview all of this coming up. Also, the baseball offseason is heating up, and so is hockey and basketball. We'll get around to all of that. Of course, Alexander Ovechkin is on fire. LeBron James is melting down, and it is fabulous for all of us. We all benefit when LeBron melts down. Almost unanimously, I'd say. I want to give a shout to Joe Burrow and think that maybe actually he should be considered in the MVP conversation. Bengals annihilate the Steelers, and then on an interception that he threw, he went right after T.J. Watt and started blocking him. And, of course, once T.J. Watt disposed of him, Burrow's offensive line came over and gave T.J. Watt a Watford. Man, you can't win. And then he looks at the ref, what am I supposed to do? And the lineman is like, hey, bud, let me show you something. That's grown man football right there from Joe Burrow. I'll be back and better than ever tomorrow morning. Like, rate, review, subscribe. YouTube also. There's a YouTube channel. You can look at my sweet face.